after our next speaker, let's give it up. We're going to engage in some energy so he can light up the virtual stage. Give it up for Brother Zachary. Let's bring him to the stage as he talks about his expertise in business and funding and so much more. I'll give it up for Brother Zachary.
Peace, family. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Shout out to Sister Alexia for putting this together. This is another avenue in which is great for our people for sure to come together, merge art and business, because we are creative beings. All of us share that type of spirit of creativity, and then being able to put creativity into business is important, especially since nowadays business is very rigid. When we look at the way capitalism is now, it's cut and dry. Let me get the money and that's it. But putting in your creativity, especially nowadays in 2023 going into 2024, we can use our creativity to make business and do business, and we should do business at all aspects of our life as well, especially us in the Black community. This is a way for us to be able to move forward and not be in the same place. And that's what Alexia has brought up. As far as business, I'm not really necessarily into funding, but I am a home ownership advocate. I've been in the real estate or mortgage industry since 2008. We all were maybe familiar with 2008 and that recession that took place at that time, and we all went through the 2020 pandemic or plandemic or whatever you may look at it as, and that recession that went on. But home ownership is something that we all need to embrace. We all need to think about. If we're not already a homeowner, we should consider being a homeowner, because one thing that we may have not noticed is that home ownership is something that we all need. We all need a place to stay. If you rent now, you know that you don't have control. When you have ownership of something, you have control of that. Now, of course, that is relative. We can look at the system that we are in with right now. You may say that there is still other control that could be in place even if you own something. But if you have nothing that you own, you really are under the control of someone else. When you think about rent, that rent goes up every year, regardless of the condition of the property. They may not make any upgrades in your complex, but the rent is still going to go up. They're going to find something to charge you for, and you have no say on what you're going through. But like I said, I've been in the industry since 2008. Once I got out of high school, I went straight into the industry. It started off as just getting a job. And as I learned and as the economy went in its waves and ebbs and flows, I noticed a couple trends that took place. Mainly is that we as Black people have not taken on the ownership aspect of owning a home. Those of us who have embraced this journey of being a homeowner, we are also the majority of those who are losing their homes as well. So I really wanted to kind of give us some background on things that I've observed, some of the statistics that has taken place in our community as well, just to stress the importance of home ownership, why we should look at home ownership as something when we think about generational wealth. As I stated before, we all need somewhere to stay. Some people talk about crypto. 2020 was a big financial literacy boom when we all were at home, where everyone was trying to figure out what they should do. When some of us were at home and not considered essential, we were looking for alternative or creative ways to be able to make money. So we maybe got into the stock market, maybe got into crypto, got into different type of investings, whether it was wholesaling or flipping real estate or finding a business of their own. We still need somewhere to stay for ourselves. But when you think about generational wealth, one of the easiest ways that we can pass on generational wealth is by owning a home and passing it on to our children or passing it on to a family member, so that they don't have to go down the same road that we took to be able to start the process. They can inject themselves in the process with an asset and not take on a lot of liabilities. So I asked the question, why is home ownership so important for the Black community? Well, we're less than 50% of Black people own a home. 45% to be exact as of 2022. We'll see what it will be for 2023 when that information comes out. But as of 2022, we were at 45% home ownership rate. Why is that significant? Well, if you go back to the 1960s, Martin Luther King, I had a dream. We wanted to get into civil rights. We wanted to make change. At that time, our home ownership rate was 38%. So we're talking about 62, 63 years from there, and we're only shifted the needle by 7%. But yet, we're one of the leading consumers. We spend nearly $2 trillion a year. But yet, our home ownership rate has not moved. I bring that up as well because as of 2022, we take up 80% of those in foreclosure. Why is that important? Well, since I've been in the mortgage industry, I've been in the foreclosure prevention portion of mortgage. So those who fall behind, they get into collections, you get into what they're called loss mitigation, which is the step right before foreclosure, because a bank doesn't want your home. And that's a myth that many people may put out there that, oh, the bank wants to take your house from you. Well, in all actuality, they'll rather have your money than have your property, because if you can't afford it or you can't sell your home, what makes you think the bank can sell your home? They'll find a way to do it, but at the end of the day, they would rather have you stay in the home and charge you the interest. They'll rather charge you the late fees. They'll rather charge you or take your mortgage payment than actually have the property itself and sit on it and have to preserve it. They'll rather you deal with the maintenance than they have to pay the maintenance costs. So when we think about that and why it's so important for us to understand home ownership, because two things that I've noticed since I've been in the industry. We have a lack of information or education when it comes to home ownership. And then we have a lack of preparation. So many of the homeowners that get into the market, so especially in 2008, 2007, around that time, there was a lot of predatory lending. What does that mean? That means there were individuals that were getting loans that they truly couldn't afford. There were individuals who were buying homes based off of bonuses, overtime, side hustles, hobbies, this extra income that really wasn't documented, but they was able to still get loans. And once that stopped, once the overtime stopped, once the bonuses go away, you lose your job, you no longer can afford it, and it automatically puts you in the run to get foreclosed on. So when you have a pandemic, when you have a recession, when you have a downturn of the economy, the first ones that are affected are those that are not prepared, those that don't have savings, those that don't have an emergency fund, those who may have the money to be able to maintain a mortgage, but again, if you don't have anything in the reserves, at that point you automatically put yourself in a position to fall behind. And once you get behind, if your mortgage is something that is you're barely getting through, your paycheck to paycheck, or your mortgage payment to mortgage payment, one goes by, then the next one is coming around on top of fees, you never get yourself back out of that hole. So the reason why I became a home ownership advocate is because I noticed we didn't have the information. I noticed that our community gets sold to more than we get educated. Many of us when you get into home ownership, we're looking for the minimum requirements. We're trying to see what's the least I can put down. What's the lowest or the lowest minimum credit score I can have? What is the smallest house that I can get? Or what's the smallest mortgage payment that I can get? But in all actuality, we should strive to do more. Statistics state FHA loans default more than conventional loans. So that means if you're not putting enough down, you're not putting enough good faith down, or you're not putting enough of an investment down to show that this is something that I want to do, the likelihood of you willing to stay in that investment is very low. If you're willing...
We're going to stop there, pick it back up tomorrow. Have a great day.